All right. Greetings, gods and goddesses in training. Welcome back to the channel. It is Uncle Makara, all relations. We talk a lot about this on this channel about philosophy, psychology, spirituality. And today we're going to be breaking down how different entities have different brainwave states. So accessing different brainwave states pulls different entities towards you and in your own experience, okay? This is not only research by me, but also by this guy we might have on our podcast very shortly. I have yet to tell him about it, but basically, Will DeRude, okay, he has this very interesting model, okay? One second, guys. All right, this should work. Now you guys can comment. It's just my work calling. Okay, okay, forward. Okay, cool. So if we understand our nervous system, right, there's many different aspects of it. And you got to understand that there's a limbic system that creates much more fear, amygdala response, right? There's a higher brain order system. And there's also a brain that helps you make decisions, right? And the prefrontal. And it's interesting how the prefrontal also shuts down when we access higher states of existence like flow, okay? They call it transient hypofrontality, which means that your prefrontal cortex basically becomes slower, hypo, right? It's not hyper. Hyper would be faster. So, in terms of my own understandings and the work that I do, which is kind of like energetic surgery, you have to understand a few things. Okay, number one. Okay, let's do a whiteboard. This is just gonna make it easier. Namaste, namaste. Neurotheatrics. Okay, this is a term that I kept coming up with. All right, so we have to start to first of all understand a few things, okay? Before we get into this, I want to just explain. You ever have people who are in very low states of mind, right? Where they drain you and you feel just unsettled, they're triangulating, they're gossiping, they're on TikTok, they're muted, they're diluted in their experience. It just doesn't feel right, it doesn't sit right with your stomach, right? There's something off. This could be understood by some other entity messing with that person that you are picking up on. Okay, think of this as a thought experiment. So a lot of the stuff that I say might sound to you, oh, this is weird, you're crazy, okay, you're schizo, all these things. But just listen with an open mind and maybe you have your own experiences with this, okay? So I spend like 4 to 6 hours each day noticing people, right? Talking to people, noticing their body language, having conversations with them. And it takes a lot of work for people to stay in their body, but it takes a lot of energy to be able to lie, right? To be able to actually come up with something to say and try to make an impact in certain ways. So if you bring up an emotional topic, you'll notice that's how you can notice when entities are lying to you, okay? Because they will either react just like people do. They will, like, if you mention a great topic, what was one of the most greatest childhood memories, right? If I asked you that, your face would light up, it would have a spark to it, and you would tell me, and it would actually transport you back into your inner child state, right? So it'd make you very, very activated. in your own memory system, right? It's bringing back this energy again. Now, if I told you what's the worst thing that happened, now you go into a negative experience of that. And you can tell based on emotion, because it takes a lot of energy to lie. That means the emotions are spiked up, right? And so I usually use this as a mechanism to know when entities are messing with me or they're lying to me, right? Next thing is that forces can sometimes take you to a nearby world, do some work, clean up work, and then bring you back, right? So as a shaman, you might experience you going into different trance-like states. Um, and again, there's different layers to this shit, right? Like in terms of chi line and stuff like this. So sometimes you just need to do the energetic surgery. I mean, that's what we do. So it's very valid work. I think it takes a lot of analysis in the beginning, but then we get very, very open towards the energetic clearing components of it. Okay. So there's no shortcuts, right? The work is the will. And we got to understand that as a healer, a high voltage healer, there are many that go off track. One thing I would tell you is self-generate your joy, your presence, allow yourself to be in the here and now, because the more you get caught up in the mind frame of like, I'm going to create the best future ever, you lose your sense of timelessness and the pocket of bliss and serenity in the now. Okay. So, yes, there are many different belief systems and spiritual practice that draw connections between socializing and interacting with social entities. Okay. So there's religious, philosophical perspectives. One idea that we have is the collective unconscious. Okay. This is an idea by Jung. And, when people socialize, they engage in an exchange of energy that transcends the physical and taps them into the shared consciousness, a social consciousness, a ripple effect, right? Impacting not just you, but those also on the wider spiritual plane. So let's say we bring up the topic of Brexit, whatever, that has a specific collective consciousness, a specific frequency associated with that topic. Are you guys getting this? Give me a thumbs up. Yep. So that's number one. That's really important to understand. Next thing you want to understand is your ancestors, okay? You have an energy of the past that is guiding, as we learned from yesterday, like that woman from Guam was telling us, right? That the culture is based on the ideas of respect. And if you respect the culture, you're respecting the spirits on that island. Okay. So rituals, gatherings, community events, blending human interaction with spiritual presence, you might feel the resonance of those places, right? And those events and those indigenous traditions that invite you to be connected with their guides in a way, right? So if you meet with, like, let's say a tribe from Mali or something, you go to Africa, and then all of a sudden you start getting dreams like voodoo dreams, or Yoruba based dreams. You might have picked something up from them, like with those tribes, right? Because they're very connected with the spirits there. So then, of course, you have to have an understanding of divine energies, okay? Ancestor energy is associated with past. Divine energies are present plus future. It's a little bit into the future because usually they're future versions or renditions or archetypes of you, right? So for instance, I'm connected to Sanat Kumara's lineage, the eternal youth. That aspect of that, as well as his higher self, is Vaiwamu. So I'm heavily connected to Vaiwamu's energy stream. Okay. So divine energies. Okay. The next is the law of resonance. Okay. Now, the law of resonance is the energy you put out in social situations attracts corresponding spiritual energies. So it's linked to the law of attraction, where the vibration of your social interaction draws in spiritual energies that align with those vibrations, right? So if you're kind to someone, you're inviting in kind, benevolent deities or entities into your life. While negative behavior, right, and continued negative behavior in your system and in yourself, you're attracting lower vibration beings into your field. Okay, so do we understand the law of resonance? Say aye, okay, like a Tony Robbins seminar. Okay, the law of resonance. Next, of course, and this is something that we teach, it's just channeling. Okay, anybody can do this. This is not like a special art form. I really believe that everybody has an ability to channel, especially in a social context, right? Let's say meditation, drum circles, chanting circles, where channeled spiritual energies, I mean, these social interactions act as a conduit for people to collectively access, higher states of mind together. So this is kind of like a Holy Spirit group dynamics, right? It's social flow, it's group flow. Okay. Are we getting it? Sweet. Okay, let's move on. So let me see here. I have it in my draft, this one thing. So light beings, okay. Let's just have this picture downloaded and I'll show you guys. Again, I want to give credit to Will because he's done this work, okay? And it's incredible work. So I have to give credit where credit is due. You know what I mean? Like I'm a type of shaman that wants to share and actually create a better earth together, right? Don't just sit here, sit back, and talk about a bunch of nonsense, right? We're making sense out of the nonsense. That's what makes us a proper path working, a collective of peak performance shamans, which is a new field, right? So is everybody seeing this? Yes. Good. Yep. Are you guys seeing this? Okay. So light beings up here, you're seeing Buddha, Jesus, okay? Some angelic beings, fairies, okay? High to mid astral beings. Notice they're more so protective, war-based, jinn, right? Also Fae, kind of in this liminal area. I think Fae is everywhere, to be honest with you, but anyway. Um, you know, maybe Quetzalcoatl or like these Aztec, or general type energies. Then the low astral, almost parasitic, right? Ghouls, goblins, phantoms, different, demonic spirits or even false light deceptive, very, very deceptive energies, They show that they're high and mighty and they're up here. They're actually a light being, but they're pretenders. They're deceptors, okay? They convince you that they're good, but they're actually bad, okay? So the thing to understand here, okay, is let's start with the false light beings, okay? Where do these beings resonate at? Okay, according to Will, this is panic, dissociation, intrusive thinking, okay? Inverting the truth, paranoia, grandiosity, okay? Let's make this, yeah, okay. Let's just make it black, that's fine. All right, next we have the low astral. I'll make this a different color. Let me make it red. Okay. Low astral, freeze, shut down, okay? Stagnant energy, okay? Stuck in fear. All right. This is the fight or flight. If you have a panic disorder, you know you're getting these false light energies coming through. Okay. And we can also relate it back to mental illnesses because there's certain mental illnesses, right, that take us into these different parasympathetic states, right, and sympathetic states. So, yeah, this is the way I want you to understand it. Okay. Now, up here, there's still a benefit to these high and mid astral beings. I'll tell you why, because again, stress and that kind of stuff, it can be transmuted, but you got to understand a few things about working with these beings, okay? The mid to astral. So, those that vibrate at stress and pleasing others, okay? The codependence, the pleasing others, okay? You're calling forth these mid astral beings. So, this is usually when you need protection, and it vibrates at the level of protection, okay, to support survival. Okay. Though they do siphon some of your energy, I'm not going to lie, right? They do, but it's beneficial. It's like a back and forth, right? It's a giving and receiving. So it's not, you're not going to be very drained by these beings. These beings, however, yeah, you're going to feel it. You're going to feel the like right? The sludginess of it or the heightened elatedness. Like this one is more so like the heightened elatedness. The Luciferian, this is more harmonic, I would say, even like the free shutdown. Just eat a bunch of burritos over and over again and just, binge watch something until your eyes just close in the back of your mind and you drift off into this mind-numbing hell, right? So hell is a state of consciousness, heaven is a state of consciousness. We already established this in our path working, okay? And so how do we access the light beings? How do we access the hyper heightened positive states of consciousness? Okay. My bad. Had to reload this. Let's make this blue. I'm blue. Okay. So ease, flow, bliss. Okay. Intuitive guidance. They operate from love interconnected to source, so they don't need to parasitize your energy in any way. Okay. They respect free will. Okay. And they don't interfere unnecessarily. Okay. They're there. They offer support, guidance as well. Okay. So we're getting it. Okay. Here are different states of mind. Okay. There's different ways that our nervous system behaves, correct? So light beings, they chronically vibrate in ease, flow, and bliss. Okay. They respect your free will. They give you intuitive guidance. They give you support. They don't interfere unnecessarily. The high to mid astral beings vibrate at stress and pleasing, so protection, right? Supporting survival. So we could sum it up like this, right? Up here, the light beings are ecstasy, unity, serenity, right? Inspiration, passion, flow state, contentment, safety, trust, manager, protector, ego, pride, right? This state, social mask, overcare, codependency, guilt, procrastination, self-criticism, helplessness, victim, and shame, paranoia, mania, obsessive thinking, body disconnection, delusion, psychosis. Are we getting the picture, guys? Yes? Is this making sense? Let me check the chat. Big White's here. Hey, epic. Okay. So epic, right, guys? Next level. This is our next level up because we're starting to understand now that once we're in flow, we auto correct our being choices. Hello, McFly, right? Is anybody home? Is anybody home? Okay. We got to understand this. Tapping into the zone, being in your element, being at peace and joy and gratitude and actually feeling into this attracts these light beings to work with you on autopilot, baby. So why are you not doubling down on your flow state? That's my question to you. Okay? Why are you still in this paralysis, hopelessness, health anxiety, okay? All this stuff. Why are you not using top-down mindfulness and belief work practices and reframing, right? Instead of continuously re-triggering and feeding these cycle of these survival states. Great talk. I've got to go care of my dad now. Watch this later. Os, many blessings and much healing to your father, man. He's a great man because he gave birth to the primal waters. Let's go. Remember, guys, presence itself is a resource, right? Presence equals regulation. Let's go through anything else. So if you ever feel like a chronic, like a tightness or a numbness in the muscles, that's nervous system imbalance, okay? That means that your brain is not giving rise to this divine perfection of the storyline, right? Because flow state gives you a rise to the narrative of effortlessness, and yet you keep applying more effort. Okay? So the ventral system would be bliss, flow, ease. The sympathetic is the freeze, fawn, stress. Okay? Workaholism, perfectionism, overcaring, self-criticism. Okay? Then we have shutdown, panic, and dissociation. Okay? So the ventral vagal is really where we need to be. Because it also makes you fucking attractive. You get what I mean? Like someone who's just in ease and bliss and purity and just the high vibe tribe member, okay? The person who does not let other people's energies or entities siphon them. They're in their spiritual sovereignty and they decide that I am at the consciousness of Christ. I am at the consciousness of Buddha. I am at the consciousness of all of these ascended masters and yogis. I will be more receptive towards their energy. How? By working on my brain, by working through my nervous system dysregulation. Okay? No longer fixating and feeding stories that keep your nervous system fucked up. It's time to create new stories, new pathways that will start to form and give you new patterns, new neurotheatrics, right? Notun neural activity, okay? Notun in Bengali means new. All right? So this is so powerful because if you can be throughout your day feeling good, right? And chilling with these bodhisattvas, why not? Right? Why not? Why are you constantly putting yourself into this stressful workaholic paradigm so you have to work with these war beings all the time? You see what I'm saying? Okay. You see, this girl doesn't even know how to respond to this message. I told her that she reminds me of another girl. You know what I mean? Okay, so When an energy comes into contact with you, okay, let's say another physical being in this case, not an entity, okay, you got to understand both of your energy fields, okay? Let's say you're over here, she's over there, or he's over there. What? Okay. And you're leaving this resonance, this energy around you, right? And this person is feeling it, right? There's a consciousness that's exploring and residing in each energy field. When one energy then comes to another energy, let's say they meet, they match up. Let's say they address you. Hey there, Paul. Okay. It's coming, that word is coming into contact with your energy field. Okay. Now you might say, like, good morning, Sally, right? And it seems like it's just mundane. But these words, okay, upon entering your nervous system, your energy field will react on your nervous system. So when that energy enters your energy field, there's a moment of reaction. There's like a change, a biochemical change that occurs. And there's an energy that's produced. And that energy then, if your consciousness is aware, can take that energy and utilize it. Okay? Danya says, thank you. You're welcome. Okay? Welcome to the live call. Very, very powerful, epiphanies and downloads today. I used to have a lot of fear going out of body. First, there's like the death fear, right? Well, which is what is expected at death, right? You're not going to be like, yay, okay. So, I mean, that's in probably every person's mind or anybody going through emotional training or, death meditation or anything like that, right? Memento mori. We recognize it. Did I gather enough courage and curiosity, right, to overcome this? The second barrier is like this fear of not being able to return to the physical body again, right? And it's only after I was able to practice these trance states over and over and over again that I reached the third stage, which is the fear of the unknown. Okay. So we've got to really, first of all, overcome these fears. Now, they're made in colors like this. I don't like these specific colors because they remind me of the chakra system, right? That's the only thing, I would say about this, is you need to change these, some of these colors around. Like this makes sense, kind of. It's like root chakra beings or entities. But also it's like these aren't false light, bro. Like, violet, pink. These are very high vibe colors. Okay. They're fastest in the frequency bandwidth of light, right? So that's the only thing I would say for this. But other than that, it's such a beautiful model to understand, especially that he's linking it back to the science and the brainwave states, because this is really where the world is going to, where spirit and science are starting to merge, right, together. And we're starting to understand the bigger picture of all this stuff. Okay. To someone just joining this won't make sense, these scribbles, right? These lines. You'll just be like, what? Okay. So, any other questions? Anything coming up for either of you? I got to get going soon, actually. Okay. Got work today. How do we use more brain power? For me, it's always been sound. Okay. Because it can be used very easily, right? It doesn't need like years of intensive training. You can put on a bandwidth or a frequency of gamma waves and retrain the patterns of, reaching for, these light beings way better, right? And you're creating this waveform in both hemispheres, which means like if you're using binaurals, you're using different, sounds that two different sounds that creates a third sound, a third entity in a sense. Okay. Changing your electrical brain waves, right? Which is changing your stress. All right. And then it will help you be in the desired state of awareness. So try and see if you can actually vibrate at the flow state when you meditate. See if you can meditate. This is a big life hack I'm giving you guys. 8 hertz per second. Okay. And it's interesting because this is also infinity, correct? So this is the flow state frequency. It's around this. It's interesting because 7 point something is like the Schumann resonance, right? So close enough to the Earth's frequency. But when you listen to this, you will be able to go into this timelessness, this ease, right? And if you maintain it, this little pocket of flow, you'll be getting these little downloads or these gamma jumps in your mind, right? Where you get the eureka moments coming in. So if you just plan out your day, even if you're not an adept listening to this, just watch and understand this. By the way, it's 222 right now. Yeah. Feminine healing for our collective. Okay. Feminine healing is more so a yin, receptive, yielding type of energy for the healing, right? It's not like a go through the shadow work type of masculine healing. Okay. All right. By the way, I've been exploring the gateway process a little bit more as well, and it's been helping. It's been helping. I'm very receptive to it. I don't know about anybody else who's tried it. Like a lot of people, they don't get anything from it, they say. I find that hard to believe because I've done a lot of these, different programs and stuff. This one was powerful. Okay, I'm getting a message from the deities to share this.
Is that what you've always thought of
Bashar,
as fairy tales is actually the way life works?
What you always thought of as fairy tales or the way that life actually works. Listen.
Yeah. Right. So when you allow life to work, when you allow creation to work in the way it's designed to work, your life becomes an ecstatic explosion of synchronicity. You'll wind up exactly where you need to be, when you need to be there, with whom you need to be there. Not a second before you need to be there, but not a second later either. It's about opening up to perfect timing by being who you truly are.
Opening up to perfect timing by being who you truly are.
Being truly who you actually are, if you're not living in the present by being who you are, then how can anything that is representative of the vibrations of the things we prefer find you if you're not home?
You're not home. You guys get this? She.
So the more you live in the now, the more things can find you. Why? Because now is the only time that exists. So they can't find you then or when. They can only find you when you're in the
now. Okay? In the now ever. Okay, this is where we're going with this. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in, guys. I love every single one of you. Okay. I know we're like soul brothers and sisters or something, right? We're definitely tapped in. We're like a spiritual family over here. And we're sharing in this knowledge together in this collective and reminding ourselves that we are the neo shamans that will create a ripple effect in our own lives, in our own communities, our own gatherings, our own localities, but also on a global level. We're making a global impact, right? We're reaching many people's lives and shaking up their state of consciousness. We're there to be the awakeners, okay? Wake people up from being asleep into this live dream where we're in playfulness, spontaneity, ease, and flow. Namaste, flow miste. May you never be the same again. May the flow be with you and stay legendary. Okay, I'll see you guys in the astral on the other side. Let's crush it.